In this session, it's my aim to get you better acquainted with the fingerboard by getting you to associate the different frets with actual musical notes. In fact, we've already made a start with this, as you already know which notes are used to tune up the open strings of a bass, and that the fingerboard itself is divided into semitone intervals by the frets. Personally, I think it's very important that you begin to associate frets with their notes now and make a start on learning where every single note is across the entire fingerboard. Now, this may seem a little daunting at first, yes, but please just split this learning into bite-sized chunks, and I guarantee that by increasing your knowledge bit by bit, you'll soon have the entire fingerboard learnt in absolutely no time. After all, if you're serious about playing, serious about music, and want to play with other more experienced musicians, then it's essential that you know where your notes are. Let's start by recalling the first 5 frets of the E string. If you can remember, I briefly mentioned to you these notes during our session on tuning, and I'd like to bring back some terminology used in that session that will help you to understand how musicians start to think about notes. In particular, I want to clear up the confusions that can often occur when we start referring to note names. And, if you haven't guessed it already, I'm going to talk to you about the notes that are either flat or sharp. Very soon we'll be using our basses to find and name the notes, but to start with, I think it's much easier to see and understand the concept of flat and sharp notes using the piano keyboard. As with our bass, the piano is also divided up into semitone intervals, but instead of frets, a piano has black and white keys. Now, all the white keys on a piano are what we call the natural notes. These are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C again. And these natural notes played in this way creates what we call a C major scale. But as you can see, spaced in between these natural notes, we have a number of black keys. So, how do we go about naming these 5 remaining black notes? Well, we name the black notes based on their relative position to a natural note. Taking this one as an example, we can see that on either side we have the natural notes of G and A. So we'd refer to this note as a G sharp. The sharp sign basically means that it's a semitone higher than the nearest natural note. Or we can look at it the other way and call it an A flat. This time, the flat sign tells us that the note is a semitone lower than its nearest natural note. As you can see, physically it's exactly the same note, but it can be named 2 different ways depending on which way we choose to look at it. For now though, just think of sharp notes as being a semitone higher than a natural note, and flat notes as being a semitone lower. If you look at the piano again, hopefully you can see that there are 2 places on the keyboard where there isn't a flat or sharp note between the natural notes. Now, please remember that there is always only a semitone interval between the natural notes of B and C, and also between the notes E and F.